I see a great deal of sadness.
Sadness, where do you see
in the face of the
We believe that everybody sees differently, and yet there are certain things we can agree on.
Now let's go back to this idea
So
of
what
home
makes
here.
our...
How do you all feel at home? What is home? What does home represent? Is home someplace that you want to be? You're sitting here in school all day. I know you're all pretty excited.
When he was in art school, he started doing photography because he felt he really wasn't good at painting or sculpture.
painted it that way?
What's unique about Art Encounter is the discussion approach that we use. It's an interactive. Art, I feel, is really important because art can really enhance life. And it does because it stimulates the imagination. When we look at art, our ideas go in all kinds of directions. But not only does it stimulate our own creative imaginations just by looking, but I think it helps us understand life and see things in new ways. And that's one of the reasons that it's so important to people. What Art Encounter does is it gives people an opportunity to share some of their perceptions in the process of looking. And I think everybody can, art has a way then of bringing people together. We live in an age that is so specialized. Everybody is off doing his or her own thing. And art is the one area, I mean all of the arts, that give people an opportunity to come together. And art reflects life. I mean, it is about life and death and joy and sadness and what we all experience through the process of living. So it gives us an opportunity to share that.
This is the main part of the image. This is what's called a
We
positive.
started Art Encounter as a not-for-profit organization so that we could concentrate our efforts on, initially on two populations, school children and senior citizens. And through time, we've reached out to the general public. We do programs also for the general public in order to develop a membership base to support our other programs.
You see and feel and hear is just as valid as anyone else. An artist's work can make one person feel one way and another.
We have programs for children, for senior citizens, for the general public, and for artists. Some of the programs we do are school programs in which we take original works of art into the schools and we use this question-answer approach and involve the kids in a dialogue. We also take the paintings into senior citizens' residences and centers. And then we from that, we decided we really wanted to bring the two groups together. And so we do programs, intergenerational programs. We can see this approach in the program we recently did at the Presbyterian home in Evanston. And here you see how the group responds to the questions. Part of the idea here is that everybody can find their own answer. Not everybody sees alike, and that's really important. We feel it's important for people to be able to say, I hate that piece. And one of the paintings we talked about was hard for the people to understand. It was a little looser, a little more expressionistic, but it's very important for them to have that opportunity not to like something. And our hope is that after the discussion and after sharing the responses with other people, they may change their mind. It's the other value in a program like this is that it promotes intellectual stimulation, and that's so important for older adults. It's important for everybody, but sometimes older people are living a little bit separate from the rest of the world. So here they're gaining ideas and they're sharing ideas. And so it's been really wonderful. We also did the same program at the Levy Center, where that's a center that people come to on their own, and it was fun to discuss the art with the people at that center as well. Other programs we do involve bringing the same paintings into schools, and Nancy Gargiulo, one of our principal facilitators who's worked with us for about 7 or 8 years now, and Eric Lieber, who's a new facilitator, brought paintings to Timber Ridge. And you can see here the discussion that took place with the children at Timber Ridge and with Nancy and Eric. We like to bring the paintings around to schools and senior centers, and next year we're hoping to do a series based on the idea of roots, in which we bring works by artists of different ethnic backgrounds into the schools through using a series of programs. Another project that we're working on in Evanston is in conjunction with the Department of Children and Family Services. Foster children are coming to our center after school, and we're teaching. Sarah Packer and Eric Lieber are working with the kids to create, just to teach different art ideas through hands-on work. We've also combined these with some intergenerational programs that involved the foster families, and we're seeking a grant now to extend this project so that we can also include the biological families as well.
Whatever you see and feel and hear is just as valid as anyone else.
It's
An artist
interesting. It's interesting when you work with children and adults to see the different approaches that they take and the observations that they make about art. And what we found, we love to bring a program into a school and meet several times throughout the day with different age groups. And people think, well, we really gear the conversation differently for children than we do for adults. And that's true up to a point. You don't talk to kindergartners the same way that you do to 6th graders. But it's truly amazing because sometimes kids are so perceptive. They're not clouded by what they feel they ought to see, so that oftentimes they will zero in on something much faster than adults. On the other hand, older people also who've lived long enough, and maybe it's the ones that are attracted to some of our programs in the first place, they're free to say what they think, and they're not worried so much about being judged by their peers. So, and sometimes they are very, very perceptive too, and they're perceptive about different things, certain life issues. You can discuss with the older people that the children may not quite get. It just is some of the philosophy underlying the paintings, but sometimes the kids are really fast. The hardest group are the middle-aged people who are trying to make an impression on each other. And truly, again, people attracted to Art Encounter let go of those ideas, but or those prejudices, but it takes a little bit more practice with them. So working with different groups is really interesting. I think they all benefit in different ways. One of our goals for the kids is that they can grow up with open minds and be able to approach new ideas with new solutions. And that's why we like to often combine some hands-on programs that relate to. With older adults, one of the goals is that they, again, receive intellectual stimulation and that they can communicate with each other. So that's also very exciting. We also don't like to forget artists, because artists often work in isolation. So we offer a critique class that meets on alternate weeks, twice monthly, for artists. And it's really, for me, it's a very important class. These artists bring work in, and as an artist myself, I fully understand the vulnerability of exposing your work. And the whole idea with the Art Encounter critique is for people to help each other see, let me put that another way, it's for people to learn how other people are seeing their work. In traditional critique classes, the teacher will come along and tell the artist or the art student what's wrong with the work. And our approach is totally different. What we're looking at is, first of all, is the work communicating, and what is it communicating? So through the same interactive discussion approach, now thrown out towards the other artists, I mean, the questions are given to the other artists, the painter whose work is on display, or sculptor, can get immediate feedback as to what the work is.
Home plate, okay. We've got the idea of, we've got this baseball bat, which has got these branches. What does that remind you of? It reminds you of a tree. Okay, so we've got a tree, and we've got a bird's nest, and we've got these items of a baseball. Somebody tell me about baseball. What's the idea behind, what do you feel about baseball? What are the ideas behind baseball? Hit the ball with the bat, okay? Relatively, we've got all these objects here. We've got home plate. And tell me about what with these objects that we have here, what can we make?
So she really wanted to capture the feeling. The star is a real interesting thing, because people always say, oh, well, it must be communist Russia that they got away from. Or they'll say maybe the child was, that the family was from the Holocaust, even though it's not a Star of David. But really, what happened?
Intensity that's there. This artist has a mixed background. He's part Cuban.
The major obstacle that we have faced with Art Encounter is fundraising. And I think this is, of course, the problem of most not-for-profit organizations. But it's a constant problem. What's really crucial is membership. And we do need to build our membership base. That's one of the reasons that we do programs for the general public. We also have a wonderful group called Friends of Art Encounter, who are members at a higher level, and we have special programs for them where we go to absolutely outstanding collections and artist studios. But it is a major source of problems as public funding gets cut. And it is, unfortunately, being cut. It makes private funding also difficult to get. The public believes that, well, we'll cut out the public funding and the private sector will take over. Well, they don't. Public funding has always encouraged the private sector to participate as well. So that's always a major problem. We do have an annual benefit in April, and we have an annual holiday market in December that also are aimed at helping us raise some revenues to support the programs, the community service programs that are so dear to our heart.